If we're being honest, I know that you're a creator who probably has this dream list of brands that you want to work with, but really doesn't want to reach out to them. Whether it is just one of those tasks that always gets put on the back burner, or maybe you don't know how to approach brand outreach, having those brands actually be reaching out to you is going to just make your life so much easier. So, today we're going to be talking all about how you can actually attract those brands doing things maybe you're already doing or adding super small little things into your strategy that are going to make this process so much easier for you. So, today let's talk about how you can attract your dream partnerships. I'm Kristen Buscan. I've been a full-time creator for over 3 years, and I've brought in over $350,000 from sponsored posts and content creation collaborations with brands so far. Soulcial Scoop is the podcast where we teach you, the entrepreneurial creator, to turn your online influence and creativity into a profitable, self-sustaining business. The truth is that a lot of brand partnerships don't start with your cold pitch. There is this kind of warm up process that might happen before that so that the brand starts to see that you even exist. Obviously, there are 5 bazillion trillion creators at this point. So it's super, super hard to stand out. But if you are putting in the work to really show the brand that you are loyal to them, to show them that you're already interested, or just positioning yourself if they were to stumble upon your page that you show you'd be a good fit, this is a really nice way to put yourself in a scenario where the brand can actually do some outreach to you. So you kind of have to do like this laying down of the foundation in order to help make these things happen, right? Like we don't just create a piece of content and then sit by the computer and wait for an email in. I wish that were how it works. Most of the time it's not. Unless you have a video that like goes super viral, obviously that's a different situation. But for the everyday video, this is probably not what's happening. So, the first thing that we're going to be talking about today is to post the kind of content that the brand is already creating or already engaging with. So, if you were a brand, let's put ourselves in the brand's shoes. Imagine you come across a creator and you look through their content, and all you can think is, oh my gosh, their content is so perfectly aligned with ours when it comes to the messaging and the mission and the audience, and also maybe even the look and feel or the tone of this content. What a beautiful situation for you to be in as a creator. The brand is going to feel so much more confident actually reaching out to you because you are just truly so aligned with them and all of those things. So that might not happen by accident. Realistically, we can kind of set ourselves up to be in a position where a brand comes to our page and feels that way about us. I very much do this intentionally, a lot on my page and a lot within my content. I very often try and showcase my mission, which is to help creators monetize. I like to share tools or workflows or processes that I might use or like kind of tap into to be relevant to that niche so that when a brand comes along that is like a brand that is a course creation product or a CRM product or anything along those lines that would be relevant for creators, they can look at my page pretty easily and go, wow, she's already recommending tools that are for our target audience. So what a beautiful fit there. Maybe they are like a fun brand that likes to kind of have this like really personal connection. They can look at my content and see like the way that I talk to you guys, right? Like they can see I'm not coming off as like someone in a business suit who's like really stuffy. Like I have pink hair and wear like ripped t-shirts. This is a very different vibe, right? So if that is in alignment with a brand, which for a lot of creator brands, that's kind of the avenue that they're going down, they might feel like, oh my gosh, this is a really good fit for us. So I would highly recommend One, studying the organic content that your dream brands are putting out there. Take a look at that content, ask yourself, how can you how can you get more of that vibe or that tone or that messaging into your regular content? Obviously, you still need to stay true to yourself, but it's a good exercise to do to kind of see what these brands are going to be maybe looking for to incorporate into their organic content. Or we can also go to like Facebook or TikTok ads library and take a look at the ads that these brands are running. This is a beautiful, beautiful option, especially for a UGC creator where you're going to be creating ads for sure, right? Even if you're not a UGC creator and you're just going to make sponsored content for the brand, maybe you want to create sponsored content that maybe is going to get boosted or is going to have some sort of ad spend behind it. Look at what they are already paying money for, and you're probably going to put yourself in such a better position with maybe the ideas that you present to them or the angles that you're coming at when you're actually reaching out to them. Take note of things like the visuals, take note of the concepts, take note of the tone or the messaging of these different ads, and you can kind of see maybe what you would be presenting or again even creating more organic content of on your page. Let's give an example of maybe like a wellness brand that shares like really like aesthetic, clean girl, minimalist, like calm type of content. You being someone who shares that content are going to be really appealing to the brand. Or maybe you are super opposite to that. Maybe that's not the perfect brand for you to be reaching out to. On the other hand, though, maybe that is your unique value proposition. I don't think you being completely different is always a bad thing. There might be a situation where maybe again like that, let's use that wellness brand that's like very clean, minimalistic, aesthetic, girly type of vibe. Like I think you guys know like what I'm picturing. If you are not that and you are the complete opposite of that, maybe that is your unique value proposition. Maybe when you communicate with that brand, you can say, "Look, you guys are doing fabulous in this department with the clean girl aesthetic, whatever, but my audience who is maybe this way, X, Y, and Z way, loves your product, but like you're not speaking to them. What if you used me to speak to them?" So I think it could go both ways, but it's just dependent on, do you want the brand to reach out to you or do you want to be reaching out to the brand? I think you would be reaching out to the brand in a situation where your kind of vibe is really different from what you're seeing them focus on within their typical branding. So keep that in mind. But again, I don't think you being different is a deal breaker by any means. I think it's just a different angle or a different process to getting to a paid partnership um in comparison. Now, second, I would love to talk about tagging the brands organically in content. I think this is probably the best way to get your foot in the door with a brand. The issue that people have with it, though, is that they don't want to create content for free. And in the past, in this podcast, I have talked about the difference between integrated posts and dedicated posts. And I think this is a really great scenario for you to take that into consideration. So, for example, say I always use the example of like a sunscreen brand. Maybe you wanted to work with like Tula, love their sunscreen. It's the one that I use personally. Maybe you want to work with Tula on their new sunscreen, maybe that they're coming out with. So if you were on stories to create or even on your feed, to create a piece of content that is saying, here's this new Tula sunscreen. It's so fabulous. It has SPF 50. It has this, it has that. It's almost like skincare, and you're really like piling on the advertisement, right? Like you are selling this product. The sole purpose of that story or that post is for you to show people that specific product. That is an example of a dedicated post. And in my opinion, that is the type of post that you should be getting paid for. So I would actually not be sharing that type of content organically during this kind of like attraction process. I more so would be looking into integrated posts, which is essentially where if it were that sunscreen, you maybe are taking a photo of your beach bag and you're taking everything out of it and saying, here's the water bottle that I bring, here's the sunscreen that I bring, here's the Kindle cover that I bring on my Kindle, here's the X, Y, and Z, right? And so you are integrating that Tula sunscreen into a larger concept. That is a beautiful way for you to showcase that you love the brand. Maybe you already purchased the products. It's something you're organically using already. You love that brand and you're showing your loyalty, and you're even willing to like tag them for free. That is the only type of free work or free post I think we should be doing, right? Past a certain point. But I do think that's a fabulous way of getting your foot in the door with brands that you want to work with. A lot of times, actually, what happens if you're tagging brands is they might take a look at that, and because it goes right to their DMs when they get tagged, right? They might take a look at it and look through your page and go, "Oh my gosh, like let's send her some more. Let's send them some more." And basically, then you kind of have your foot in the door, right? This is a great way to get like on PR lists or to even just get like gifts where there's no obligation. But if you continue to like organically kind of what I call warm up this brand by organically putting them into these integrated posts or like a quick little story post here and there, they are going to see that you genuinely love the brand. And very often, what a lot of brands will do is actually take people from those gifted lists and give them the paid partnerships versus just like random people that they've never talked to before. So tagging these brands organically literally is like number one thing that I think you can do when you are trying to attract them for your paid partnerships. I mean, literally, if you were to, from the moment you wake up until the moment you go to sleep, look at how many brands you use. There is just like a massive amount of brands that you're probably touching or using some point in your day. Start tagging those brands. It's a great way to start getting on their radar. Now, one of the questions when I talk about this, one of the questions that I get very often is, okay, but what about those brands that like maybe I don't have their product yet, or maybe I want to try their product, but like I need to get in contact with them first. How do we attract them? What I would be doing is literally creating content that says that. For example, if there is like a service that I wanted to use in my creator business, I might be tagging them on stories and be like, hey, has anyone ever tried this calendar platform or whatever it might be? I've heard really great things and I'm like dying to try it out. You can be just super honest and transparent, right? Like you don't have to be like lying and saying that you've already used it or you love it. I think it's as simple as like posting screenshots or green screens or, whatever, photo of your computer, whatever it might be, to show like, hey, I'm doing my research into this and I'm super interested in this. And you're tagging them and all of that good stuff. I think that's a really, really great way to, even with brands you have not used before, try and get your foot in the door through that organic posting. Now, the third strategy that I want to bring up here is actually starting to engage with their content. You can do the first two steps or the first two strategies first and then dive into this, or you can even just start by doing this. Actually take the time to like turn on post notifications or story notifications or both for the brands that you want to work with, and literally just start showing up. When they post stuff, you're commenting on it. When they share a story, maybe you're responding to it. Get in their DMs, get in their comments, because once they start seeing your name over and over again, they're going to recognize you, even if it's a larger brand, right? Like a lot of brands aren't actually getting a lot of engagement on their content. So you coming through and commenting on all of the posts or reels that they share actually is pretty it's a pretty good way to get noticed, because you probably don't have a ton of competition, if we're being honest. Even like huge companies, a lot of them are very skimpy in the comments, right? Like there's not a lot happening, not a ton of conversation. So having your name show up either in their notifications or just when they're looking through comments constantly, they literally can't not notice it. Whether it takes a few posts or it takes 50 posts, I don't know. It's going to be different with every brand. But at the end of the day, this is a beautiful, beautiful way to show like I am paying attention to everything you guys share. I am like loyal, I'm excited, I'm invested in you as a brand. I think that is a beautiful, beautiful way of actually starting to attract those brands. Like without even coming in and pitching yourself or anything, you are already showing them that you're a great customer, that you're loyal, that you're very interested. I love this option. And again, turning on those notifications, I think makes it a lot easier because you truly don't really have to like go searching for it. You're going to get notifications. You pop in there for literally 15 seconds and you have done your job. Okay. Now, the fourth strategy that I want to talk about is one that might get you guys a little pissed off, and it's having a clearly defined niche and brand. And I know we have this conversation about niche all the time. I will die on the hill that having a niche and having the clarity around your brand is always going to make it easier to get partnerships. Is it impossible without having a niche to get partnerships? No, you can do it. It's going to be harder though. It's going to maybe not pay you as much as you want to get paid though. When you have a niche, the chances of your audience being way more targeted are very high. And that is what's valuable to a brand because they want you to sell the product. And how do you sell a product if you don't really know who's in the audience? That is why I think having that niche is a real big game changer. Confusion, I think, repels brands, whereas clarity is what really attracts them. Like they want to understand exactly who you are and what the point or the purpose of your socials are or is, because there are too many creators out there that aren't like personal brands. And I think at that point, it's a little bit hard for a brand to say, we're going to pay this person thousands of dollars because they just don't know about the legitimacy of your platform. Having a niche says like, no, I have like a business mission. I have a mission statement as a business, and it's very clear what people are getting from me and what I'm delivering as like a service provider being like a content creator, right? So, I do think that there's a few different ways that you can make this really clear. And honestly, most of it is within the top like 3/4 of your profile. First being your headline and your bio, having as many keywords and clarity there to truly explain what it is that you do, maybe even where you're located, is going to be very, very helpful. I think your Instagram story highlights would be another really great option if you're sharing like a bunch of highlights that are related to whatever your business's mission is, or those content pillars that maybe you talk about. That's a great way to create clarity. And then lastly, I think those 3 pinned posts that you have at the top should literally explain everything that people need to know about your content and what they're going to get. And that being potential followers or for brands that are coming to your page. Both of them are going to need clarity. And so having all of those things kind of top to bottom there really honed in and clear for anyone who's coming to your profile is going to make it a lot easier to grow, but it's also really going to make it so much easier for brands to be attracted to your profile and actually decide maybe they're going to reach out. Now, even when it comes to like your bio and your headline, those SEO keywords actually could be the thing that gets you discovered. For example, maybe it's a brand who's looking for, sustainable beauty creators. If they go on Instagram and type in sustainable beauty and you're coming up in those search results, boom, like you've just been discovered, right? Like whether they want to reach out to you from there are plenty of other factors, but from just the search results, you can be found and discovered by brands. So having those keywords that someone might actually type in to a search bar is going to be a great way for you to get discovered, by brands and really become attractive to them because you are being specific about what it is that you create. One of the other last little ones in here that I wanted to throw in that I think is kind of fun and different is actually to mention the brand in your content for like external things that you might be creating. For example, say you're like on a podcast or something, insert the brand somewhere into that podcast. You know, like maybe for me, I'm doing a podcast with someone and I'm talking about my podcast, and how I have a podcast and I'm, you know, creating content for it every week. And I might be like, yeah, I use Riverside to record, and honestly, like, it's one of my favorite platforms. Like, I've been using it for 3 years. I literally would never go anywhere else. And me talking about it in that content is such a great way to even now get that brand out to other people's audiences. And I could very easily send the brand that video and be like, hey, you know, I talked about Riverside in this podcast interview that I was on. Just wanted to send it over to you so you could listen. I think that's a great way of, again, like, showing your loyalty to a brand and showing them that you're genuinely there to help them succeed. And the last thing I will actually add in here as another bonus, I do think a really great thing that you can do to really attract brands for partnerships is connecting with them without asking for a partnership. For example, if you see online that your favorite beauty brand just went cruelty free, you sending them a message saying, hey, I saw that you guys just went cruelty free. Like, it means so much because, you know, I work in rescue and I love animals. Like, so it makes me want to shop from your brand even more. Just wanted to say congratulations. Imagine like getting that message is so special versus someone that just comes in the DMs and says, hey, I love your brand. We should work together. I mean, from a human perspective, it like hits completely different parts of your like emotions and your brain, right? So don't be afraid to literally just come in and have genuine conversation, just share things you're excited about or have conversations about the brand or the product, but don't feel like you have to always be pitching something when you are having a conversation with a brand. Literally just like a no ask email or a no ask DM or whatever it might be is so like outlandish. Like, no one does that. It feels so crazy from a brand. Like, if I just got an email at Soulcialmate that was just like, hey Kristen, I just discovered Soulcialmate, and you know, while the product's not right for me right now, I just wanted to say, like, your website looks amazing and you did such a fabulous job with it. Have a great day. I would be like, day made. This is amazing, because I think a lot of brands feel like people are constantly asking them for things. So it's so nice to just have someone be like, you're killing it. Like, you're doing great. Love that. I mean, I highly recommend that. You could just make someone's day. And those are the creators that I will remember. Is like when I have people that will just say like a nice thing, I will always remember that. Like, that goes such a long way. So I would even say, like, your homework right after this episode, look at the brands that you want to work with and look at something you maybe want to compliment and just send them a DM or an email giving them a compliment. Period. That's it. You're not asking for anything. Just give them a compliment. That is your foot in the door. So, after this, hopefully you're going to be able to attract all of the brands that you want. Let's also give you this disclaimer of this may not happen fast, you guys. There are plenty of situations where this could literally take a freaking year. Okay? Don't feel like this is going to be a super quick, easy process. You need to simply build relationships. And sometimes that networking, building relationships takes a little bit of time. Be patient, keep it up, keep track in a little tracker, and hopefully all the good things will come to you. I'll manifest it. Okay? You manifest it too. If you guys have any questions or need anything, you know my DMs are always open. So I hope to see you guys next week.